Hi, I wanted to put together this video to first display some of the differences in the paracord handles that I sell at SWBCrawler.com, and also demonstrate how you might unravel one of my paracord handles to actually use it in an emergency situation. I know a lot of these handles aren't designed to actually be unwoven and used, but I sort of put a focus on making sure that mine are usable if you ever need them. So I think it makes sense that you should know how to unravel them. So first of all, here's one of my standard handles. Now I redesigned these recently. If you bought my handles before June or so of 2014, you'll notice a difference at this end. So I use these stainless steel shackles at one end. The other end is now this loop. They used to use something like this, like I use on my bracelet here. Just a moment. This adjustable end. See how there's stainless steel at both ends and an adjustment at this end. I decided first of all that this was sort of unnecessary for something that just wraps around your roll bar and never really has to be adjusted. It was more or less a good way to give me some fudge factor and make sure that when I made your handles they didn't have to be spot on, but I've since improved my process so these all come out exactly the same length and there's no longer a problem. So, standard handle. I'm working on a Deluxe Handle which has this overwrap on it. Now there'll be differences when you go to unravel these, that's why I wanted to make the distinction. So otherwise they're identical, you see the ends, these aren't fused yet, that's why you see all this extra hanging off. But the idea is this is nicer in your hand when you grab onto it to climb in and out of your Jeep. So that's the Deluxe Handle. So here's a demonstration handle that I've put together. You notice it's not complete. It's missing one end. And it's also not fused because I'm just going to unravel it, and I figure why waste the paracord? If I fuse it, that means they won't be long enough to re-ravel later. So when I say fuse, you can see here at the end. This is before I fuse it, and this is fused. When you go to unravel these, you have to break that fuse. Now the easiest way to do that, I'll show you on the demonstration, but you pull out these ends, see here and here, and then you'll have, unless it comes apart as you're pulling it out, the two ends right there will be fused together. You'll just have to pull them apart. You may need a pair of pliers. A lot of us carry multi-tools or whatever anyway, so that might make things easier. So the idea here is there's a strand straight down the center of this, and that's what makes the rope. And then this is just a wrap over top. It makes the gives it the width there. So you see, not fused. All right. This is what I was talking about. See how these pull out? You pull those out. And you end up, they come out the sides like that. This is that center strand I was talking about. It loops up and then back. Now at this end, you see, this looks really loose. And that's done on purpose. If I make this too tight, it makes unraveling more difficult. So you see, this center loop here, you can see it if I separate them here. This center one is it's the other end of this, essentially, the other end of the two loops you see at the other end. So, also of note, I have this woven in here. Notice that there's three strands that go through the overwrap, through the main strand here, and one center loop. This center loop is the same as this center loop here, and these two sides are woven in through the paracord. So, the easiest way I found to do this is you pull this out of all three loops at this end. Then you end up with three like this. Then take it and put it back through the center loop, because that's what you want to do to pull it apart. You'll notice I'm just pulling that center loop, it pulls all the way out like that, and then you end up with this chain link. All you do then is you pick the chain link apart like this. Now you might not call this fast release. It's not intended to be a fast release. It's sort of in between. There are fast release methods of tying this stuff, but I haven't found any of them to be suitable for making these handles, so this is my compromise. This is also the most common weave for these things, and it's that way for a reason. It's easy to do, it's fast, it uses a decent amount of paracord, so what you end up with after you've unraveled it, these are about, I think, 10 feet unraveled per strand. You see, I'm almost done already. Took me about a minute to get the whole thing open. Once you have it all apart, this strand, which would have been the handle, sort of just falls out because you're unraveling the strap that it was connected to. See, now this is where it connects. All you do is, it gets a little, you have to basically pull it out of the center strap on both sides of the strap there. This rope is really nice to work with. It slides really easy. So now you see we have the center strap. You can unravel that the same way once you, this center piece right here is the same piece I pulled on the other one. You just pull that out and it'll do the exact same thing that this black one did. And there you have it. See? Nice amount of rope there. You could use this for all kinds of things. You could use it for recovery of a person. I wouldn't try to pull the Jeep with it. 550 pounds. It's somebody falls in a ditch or something, you could use it to help them out down the bottom of a cliff or some sort of a steep slope they can't climb up, even pulling a stretcher or something. You can cut it up and make shelter out of it, you know, lashing sticks together, you know, whatever. Lots of uses for rope. That's why I wear one of these. Something I wanted to note. See how this is two-tone? A lot of guys make these two-tone. This is a bracelet. I wear this every day to work. It's really unlikely that I'm ever going to need to use it as rope. It's more of a fashion piece than anything. To make it two-tone like this, you take this nice solid piece and turn it into two pieces, right? So the black piece and the camouflage piece in this one end up fused together at one end. So instead of having, that's like 8 feet or so is what's in here. Instead of having one solid 8-foot piece of rope, I've got two pieces that are fused together in the middle. So I end up with less usable rope. I don't like that, and that's why I don't do my paracord handles this way. A lot of people think that, you know, I do this because it's cheaper or whatever. It really isn't. It's the same amount of rope. It's a little more work to fuse them together, but I think you end up with less usable rope. That's why I don't do that. One more thing I wanted to touch on was these overwraps. If you buy the deluxe version, this overwrap you have to pick off manually before unraveling this centerpiece. And that's, you basically pull these out the same way we did. This is the same sort of wrap. You see how these pick out like that? You pull those out, and then this just unravels the same way. It's not woven into the center band at all. You just unravel it. Once it's off, you have a standard handle, and then you can unravel it the same way I just demonstrated. So that's it. I hope this was informative. I hope you've learned a bit about how these things work, and I hope it makes my handles look superior to others. If you've already bought a set of mine, thank you very much for purchasing them. If you bought a set before June, remember I said about how I changed this clasp, if you need to unravel it, it's not quite as easy because this centerpiece is held in place by this other end. That's why I redesigned them. So to unravel this, for example, I'd have to pick these out the same way I just demonstrated, these ends, and then unravel it step by step by step by step all the way out. It's still unravelable, still usable, just not as quick to deploy if you needed to. So that's why I changed the design. Alright, I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.